You understand the trauma that I experienced as a child and as a teenager. And for those of you who haven't heard the story, I became a mother at the age of 15. And simply to say it wasn't consensual. So there's a lot of story that's involved in that. And so just to go back and tell my 15-year-old self, just to snap out of it, everything's going to be fine, is not, it's not doable. But I had recently someone say, Donna, when I was telling my story in depth, you're a walking miracle. And I smiled and thanked them. And then I thought, as I was walking away, well, this miracle was one choice after another choice, after another choice, after another choice. It wasn't a suddenly. It was all of these little choices, choosing to believe, choosing to get up and do it again, choosing to know that somehow this is going to work out for my good. To begin to look down the road. So much of the time when we're in some kind of losing a job, losing a loved one, some kind of big disappointment, or some serious trauma in your life, we get caught in the moment and I can't see down the road.
Yeah, it's hard.
And so keeping a bigger picture and realizing if your life is a book, let this be a page, a paragraph, at the most a chapter, and turn the page and choose to create that this isn't going to be forever. Make those little daily choices to choose life, not depression or death, as I put it, and be able to know that this is not forever. If we were driving, if our life was a car and I'm driving it down the road, looking in the rearview mirror, I'm not going to get very far.
Yeah.
Before I crash. But that's the way we a lot of times drive our life, is looking at our past mistakes or trauma or things. And we need to process them. Yeah. But if I continue to look at them as my vision, I'll go off the road.
Yeah.
And a lot of times
Also, there's a reason why the rearview mirror is a lot smaller than the
absolutely
the windshield, is because that's the past, and we can't change the past, but we learn from it. And all these experiences, everything I've experienced, good, bad, and ugly in my past, has made me the person that I am today. I wouldn't be the person today if I didn't have those choices. I wouldn't be the person today if I didn't have those challenges. We have a lot of similarity in challenges and things like that. So having those choices in the past, albeit not fun, and everything can't be fun, and roses, but we can make those choices to not be a victim. We can make those choices to make a different direction, take a different direction in our road. But we always have the right to make those changes. So I love the car example that you use, the analogy, because it's so true. We'll crash if we're constantly looking behind us because we're not looking ahead. But we can learn from what happened behind us, right? That's why history is so important. History is really important. We can't change history because we need to look and learn from it. And if we do, it may change slowly. And us as women, we know that it changes very slowly, but it's okay. We're part of that change. We're part of the breaking the glass ceiling. We're part of letting the next generation have a little bit more than we had. And I love the fact that we're always forward looking. And wouldn't it be nice if everybody could look forward in a catastrophic way? But for some reason, and maybe you can answer this, Donna, why are we such a catastrophic society? What is it about us that we need to have like all this drama? I don't understand.
Well, that I don't specifically have the answer to that.
Just philosophically.
But philosophically, I think it comes from is if I can prepare for the worst, then the worst won't happen and I'll be okay. We know from our own lives that's not the case. Yeah. Preparing for the worst does not help me to have a better life. And it doesn't, and that's rearview mirror thinking. It's like, this happened before, it'll probably happen again. I need to prevent that from happening. And then it happens again. And you're like baffled. Why did this happen again? I prepared for it. So trying to prevent problems from happening by looking at the problems doesn't work. It's similar to my son rode a motorcycle. And wherever you put your eyes,
Yes.
Your bike follows.
Yes.
And so if you look at the side of the road, you will find yourself off the road. And that's but you think by looking at the side of the road, I won't go off the road. But it's not true. And so learning where you put your eyes, you will follow. Your life will follow. And so preparing for the worst doesn't get me out of it at all.
Yeah, that's called fixation on a bike, because I ride motorcycles, and you get fixated, and then all of a sudden it's like, here's a pole. Oh God, I'm gonna hit the pole. Well, yeah, I'm not fixated on it, so you're going to. So when we get back from our break, I really want to dive into that. How do we stop that? This is something that we know we're not supposed to do it, but how do we stop that? But we're going to take a small break. You're listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. We're going to jump off, take a break. We'll come right back with Donna, and we're going to continue this really, really cool conversation. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. I am Lorianne Casdia. If you'd like to be a guest or lift up your business, product, or not-for-profit, or if you have questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. Email us at healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. That's healthylifestylewithla@gmail.com. And so we are speaking today with Donna Tashjian. She is from Vibrant Living, is the founder actually of Vibrant Living International. She, like I, are international speakers, and we go around the world and we try to lift everybody up that we can talk to and touch. I know that's what you do too, but we were just talking in the first half about, we fixate on things. We go back and we keep repeating it, and then we're so surprised. It's like, why does this keep happening? And it's because we keep looking at it in a certain way. We fixate on it. So how do we stop that habit of fixation?
Well, the easiest step is to begin to create a vision of what you want instead. Is what would you like to have instead? Instead of, let's pretend it's not great relationships. And I focus on, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. And I keep getting hurt. And your brain does not understand, don't. And you're looking for, without realizing it, someone that's negative. So begin to focus on what you want. Instead of saying, I don't want that, say, I want a healthy, caring, honest relationship. And that's what I'm going to pursue. And you begin to, affirmations, the words you speak are life-changing. What are you saying? What are you thinking about? What you are talking about? Your thoughts are just beliefs you repeated over and over again. And so by saying affirmations, which is one of the books that I wrote, it's 30 days of positive affirmations, and they're different every day. Yes. So, there's that, and it's called the key to transform your life, because the words you speak are the biggest key, because that's what I believe. That's what I end up believing by saying it repeatedly. So create a vision for what you actually do want, not what you don't want. But that is the first step, is getting that bigger picture I was talking about in the first part, is that vision. What do you do want? What will it be like? What would it feel like? Get emotive on the description and create a vision, which is one of the things that I find my clients have the hardest time in the beginning doing. I only have known what I don't want. I don't know how to tell you what I do want.
Well, the cool thing is you need to understand what you don't want to understand what you do want.
Yes.
So we have to go through this process.
Yes.
We have to understand that, okay, that I don't want that anymore. So you don't call that in anymore. And it's learning how to overcome disappointments in life. And that's actually one of the programs that you offer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's called Turn Your Baggage into Luggage, so you can have the life you've dreamed. And we all have all different kinds of baggage. We've all had disappointment and pain. I don't know of any human being that hasn't had that kind of stuff in their life. And so the things that I'm sharing today are part of the workshops, the free workshops that I hold. Of course, it's longer, as well as the coaching program, but learning to be able to create the vision of what you do want, to what would I want my life to look like? And that's not usually a question that we sit and think about. I didn't before. It's like, but learning how to create that. Another really important part of creating vision is actually processing the past. And I call that having compassion for others and yourself. Perhaps another word would be forgiveness, is learning how to forgive yourself and others allows me to be free to create a vision of what I do want.
So I want to ask you this question. Don't mean to interrupt, but I want to ask you this question. So we don't want to fixate on our past, but how do we process through the past without fixating on it so we can get to the future? That's a question I get all the time. So how do you answer that, Donna?
Well, it isn't done overnight, but a big key is forgiveness. And forgiveness is what I was about to say. And that's a great question for clarity, is what I was about to go into is forgiveness is very misunderstood of what that actually is. First of all, forgiveness is not an emotion. I don't have to feel like it to forgive. Forgiveness is a choice of our will. Emotions catch up. Remember what I say, my emotions follow. So as I begin to say, and forgiveness sets me free. I know if we called it real estate in our mind, I'm no longer giving that event or person or situation real estate in my mind. It no longer has control over me. I release it.
Time.
I let it go. And so learning how to understand that it doesn't mean that what they did or it was okay. It doesn't mean that they have to be even sorry. It just means you're deciding to release it and let it go. And I spend a lot of time working with people on processing that, on how that looks like. One of the tips that helped me is when it has been a deeper situation, something traumatic in people's lives, is forgiveness. I can forgive today at the level that I'm able. And let's say something happens a little ways down the road and I feel all the anger, all the triggers, all of the things all over again. The way I like to describe it is forgiveness is like an onion. I peel a layer, I forgive, I cry, I process, and I move down the road. I quit looking at it anymore. And then something happens, brings it up. And I forgive. Instead of saying, oh, I'm still a mess, I'm never going to get over this, just forgive it deeper. Just go, I forgive more today because you're ready. And so learning how to do that and walk that through is life-changing. You combine your vision with the words you speak and forgiveness, and you can overcome any adversity.
Yeah, agreed. That's so sage. I love that process that you really do. You can't necessarily overnight forgive. It's like an overnight success. No such thing. Took somebody to have 20 years of experience to get that overnight success. And so we always, everybody else's life looks always so perfect, especially now with social media. That's stuff you see up there. It's the land of make believe, right? Mm-hmm. So you just have to really look and keep your eyes on your own page is what I say. And it's similar to the oxygen mask in the air. The airlines, when it drops down, you have to put yours on first. So the same thing with forgiveness. You have to forgive so that you can move on. The lack of forgiving keeps you stuck in that moment. Yes. And until you release it, or a little bit at a time, whatever you're able to do. I know that some things that had happened in my past, I was holding on to. And once I released it, now I'm so grateful because but for those experiences, I wouldn't be who I am today. And, I'm so happy and grateful that I am where I am. I get to serve the people I get to serve. I know you do as well. You had a lot of forgiving to do as well, right?
I did.
I had a lot of experience that was, let us just say, challenging, not putting it mildly, but you got beyond it. And what was your inspiration to get beyond it? What was that turning point, that point that you were like, no more, I'm done? Because we all had those moments.
We are going back a few years for me when that was all happening. I had a strong faith in God, even as a teenager. And so when this occurred, this was before internet. before social media, before cell phones. This is, and so when I was isolated, I was truly isolated. You know how